Good evening and thanks for watching Times News with me, Wanderer Msisia, but first the headlines. President Lazarus Chakwera says the COVID-19 vaccine is a must-have if the country is to sustain gains made in the fight against the pandemic. Parliament shoots down tabling of the abortion bill. And Finance Minister Felix Mlusu says government has no immediate plans of bailing out ESCOM. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. President Lazarus Chakwera says COVID-19 vaccine is a must-have if a country is to sustain gains made in the fight against the pandemic. Chakwera was speaking in Zomba when he launched the country's COVID-19 vaccination program. Jameson Chauluka reports.
Chakwera said putting an end to new infections is key in the fight against the pandemic. He says the vaccine will help the country protect its citizens, health workers and teachers from getting new infections. On this note, Chakwera hailed the country's partners in the vaccination program.
We must have the vaccine. We must have this vaccine to ensure that everyone who gets it is protected from catching the virus at any point in the future. We must have this vaccine to protect health workers who risk their lives to care for COVID-19 patients. We must have this vaccine to protect teachers from infection so that they can continue the work of educating tomorrow's leaders. But we must remember that getting to this point has been a collaborative effort. So to the World Health Organization for giving Malawi the technical assistance to identify AstraZeneca as the vaccine of choice for Malawi, I say thank you.
Speaking area, Minister of Health Kumbise Kandolo Chiponda warned health workers against selling the vaccine, stressing that it should be accessed for free. Chiponda also urged people handling the vaccine to follow guidelines, saying only those who should receive the vaccine at a given particular time should do so. Apart from President Chakwera and First Lady Monica Chakwera, former President Joyce Banda and retired Chief Justice Richard Banda also received their jabs. Malawi Defense Force Commander General Vincent Nundwe, Inspector General of Malawi Police Service George Kainja, Archbishop Thomas Lukumsusa of Blantyre Archdiocese of the Roman Catholic Church, and United Nations Resident Coordinator Maria Jose Torres also received the vaccine.
Vice President Saulos Chilima has encouraged all the groups targeted to receive COVID-19 vaccine during the current phase to turn up to get the jabs. Chilima was speaking in Mzuzu on Thursday when he led the rollout of COVID-19 vaccination at Mzuzu Central Hospital. Feston Malegezo has the story.
Chilima said the point that President Lazarus Chakwera and himself are emphasizing is that the vaccine is safe and everybody must take it.
It is indeed important that the President and I take the lead in being the first ones to be vaccinated today. It is the expectation of His Excellency the President that the example we have shown today by being the first to take the vaccine will inspire many Malawians to do the same, especially when it is rolled out at a larger scale, which is going to be very, very soon. Therefore, the point that the President and myself are emphasizing today is that this vaccine is safe and you too must take it.
In her remarks, Deputy Minister of Health Chris Kalamula said the vaccine is an additional tool and strategy to reduce further spread of COVID-19. Kanyaso said Malawians should not relax on the COVID-19 precautionary measures. So far, Malawi has 861 vaccination sites across the country and they will all be utilized during this exercise. Before the rollout, Chilima inspected construction works of a field hospital being erected at Mzuzu Central Hospital. Others who got COVID-19 vaccination jabs during the launch were Second Deputy Speaker Aisha Adams, Inkosi Amakosi Mberwa, Health rights activist Mazuku Maremba, among others. Maremba emphasized that it is extremely important for Malawians to take the vaccine as it will drastically help reduce the spread of COVID-19.
Let me thank the leadership, the President and the Vice President for leading the way to vaccinate, and some of us also vaccinated. For example, I'm the Community Health Ambassador, but also, as you are aware, as media, I've been commenting about this vaccination that it is safe as for everyone, and this just demonstrate the need for everyone to get vaccinated once their time comes. As you are aware that this vaccination will be in phases.
Malawi got 360,000 doses of AstraZeneca on March 5, 2021 under COVAX facility, a global initiative aimed at equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines. The COVAX facility will assist Malawi with 20% of the country's COVID-19 vaccines need, translating to 3.8 million people.
Parliament on Thursday afternoon shot down the tabling of an abortion bill, throwing into jeopardy the future of the legislation. Chitipa South constituency lawmaker Wiran Chilenga had moved a motion to allow Chiladzulu West parliamentarian Matthews Ngwale to table the bill, which sought to bring additional circumstances through which abortion could be allowed in the country. More in this report.
Currently, the law in Malawi only allows medical doctors to carry out an abortion when the pregnancy threatens the life of the mother. But the bill was asking Parliament to authorize other circumstances for carrying out an abortion, including pregnancies that come as a result of rape as well as incest. But when the motion to table the bill was brought on the floor, lawmakers shouted a resounding no to the tabling of the bill. Leader of the House, Richard Chimwendo Banda, said the House had made a clear statement on the matter when it rejected the motion to table the bill.
I agree with a motion to be discussed. It means they have got interest in that issue. What they have done today is to deny even discussing it, which means you can't force members. They don't want it. They don't even want to discuss about it. And there was no one, actually, there was no single yes. So out of all the members who were in Parliament, all of them refused.
Member of Parliament for Mwanza Central Nicholas Dausi held parliamentarians for shooting down the motion for the bill.
There's no two way about it. People must respect life, the right to life. Abortion is more or less like killing. In fact, it's killing. So I think members of Parliament did the right thing to deny it, not even to allow it to be tabled in the House.
Last year, the country's religious leaders, under the Episcopal Conference of Malawi, the Muslim Association of Malawi, the Kadria Muslim Association of Malawi, the Malawi Council of Churches, and the Evangelical Association of Malawi, spoke vehemently against the bill.
Still in Parliament, on Thursday morning, it passed the revised 2.3 trillion kwacha national budget presented by Finance Minister Felix Mulusu. The revised budget is 144 billion above the 2.1 trillion kwacha original financial plan presented by Mulusu in September last year. More in this report.
Those the government say no.
Members of Parliament adopting a motion to pass the 2.33 trillion kwacha budget on Thursday morning. The budget was passed with no changes as presented, with Finance Minister Felix Mulusu promising to take into consideration some of the concerns raised by members of Parliament during next year's budget. And briefing reporters after the passing of the revised budget, Mulusu said he was happy that Parliament had nodded to the revisions.
Some of the measures that we have taken, these will be rolling out and will be informing the public as we go along. One of the things that I think I mentioned here and I announced was the liberalization of exports of our produce. Before the budget was passed, members of the opposition rejected the local government vote, forcing First Deputy Speaker of the House to call for a division. However, when the time for voting came, the opposition withdrew the division, paving way for the safe passage of the budget. Leader of the House, Richard Chimwendo Banda, blamed the members of the opposition
for not understanding the contents of the local government vote.
There is a difference between local government vote and local government finance committee vote. The local government finance committee vote comprises of all these other issues. The local government vote is mainly about quality, administration cost. They wanted to bring issues which are not even in that local government vote, to bring them into that instead of bringing in the local government finance committee vote, which was already done.
On her part, Budget and Finance Committee of Parliament Chairperson Gladys Ganda said the committee was happy with how the scrutiny of the budget went.
In terms of deliberations, we've had a good discussion. Only that on one item from the Ministry of Local Government, members of Parliament did raise a few number of issues pertaining to the houses of chiefs that we need to make sure that it's budgeted for.
The mid-year budget is 144 billion kwacha more than the original 2.19 trillion kwacha budget presented in September last year.
Finance Minister Felix Mlusu says government has no immediate plans of bailing out Eskom. Mlusu was speaking in Parliament on Thursday when he responded to a question by Chiladzulu South lawmaker Joseph Mwanamveka, who asked government to bail out Eskom, which is failing to connect customers with electricity. But Mlusu said Eskom needs to develop a turnaround strategy before Treasury could intervene. Mlusu explains.
When this administration came in government, we found Eskom in a very terrible state. And as I said, that if it were a person, would have said that we found Eskom in an ICU. What we have done is not just, first of all, bailing out Eskom, but we have asked Eskom through the reform program that we are undertaking to come up with a turnaround strategy. What is it that will make Eskom be the Eskom that we knew before? So they must come up with a plan and tell us whether it's financial, we have to know what is required. Whether it's technical, we have to know what is required. So in terms of the bailout, that would be a subject of another day once we have received the turnaround strategy.
The High Court in Lilongwe has shifted to Friday morning its ruling on the costs that former President Peter Mutharika and former Chief Secretary to the government Lloyd Muhara are supposed to pay for being found guilty of interfering with the independence of the judiciary. Mutharika and Muhara in June last year issued a public notice forcing Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda and Justice Edward Twea to proceed on leave pending retirement. Defense lawyers for the Malawi Law Society, Human Rights Defenders Coalition, and Association of Magistrates in Malawi, petitioners in the case demanded that the two pay 68 million kwacha. According to the president of Malawi Law Society, Barton Muhango, Registrar Patrick Chilwa will be ready with the ruling on his assessment on Friday. He explains.
So what has happened today is that the registrar has not finished working on his decision, so he has said that we should come tomorrow at 8:30 because the kind of case that we are dealing with is that after deciding on the principles that are applicable, then he has to work through the figures. So he's still working on the figures to determine what is the exact amount of cost which he thinks is the appropriate amount to award in this case. So the case is proceeding tomorrow at 8:30.
You're watching Times News on Times Television, TTV, and Times 360 Malawi. We'll be back after this short break.
To achieve great things in life, you must do little things every day, like the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate. 1, wake up. 2, brush up. 3, smile through your day with a fresh breath and strong tea. Smile through your day with a fresh breath and strong 3 with Colgate and give yourself a future to smile about. If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
Do your gums hurt?
Yeah.
Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile?
All that in one toothpaste?
Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums.
Ah, Colgate Herbal.
Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Welcome back. You're watching news on Times Television, TTV, and on Times 360 Malawi Facebook page. Lilongwe is the capital city of Malawi. Nevertheless, it is a business hub which harbors most government and non-governmental organizations' offices. Despite being a busy city, roads in the city, including Area 49, Area 25, and Area 23, are in bad shape. Matthews Kasanda went around the city and has filed this report.
Geographically, Lilongwe is at the center of the country where the Parliament building is located. Legislators meet to discuss laws and provisions affecting the citizenry. With all that beautiful profile that the name carries, its roads connecting between different townships within the city have become an eyesore, prompting angry reactions from residents and those doing businesses. Times has been visiting several townships to appreciate the status of the roads. Where I'm standing, I'm in the middle of the road connecting Area 23 and Old Town. This road, few years ago, it was a tarmac road, but the story has changed. It is no longer a tarmac road. It is marked with potholes, forcing motorists and other road users to be driving at a slow pace. This also includes the road stretching from Lilongwe Bridge past William Building to the main bus depot. Motorists, pedestrians, and cyclists alike are continually expressing their disappointment, calling upon the authorities to rehabilitate the roads.
The road is in bad shape. There are potholes on almost every part of the road. We have a member of parliament in this area, but nothing is being done.
Another concerned resident who also operates a motorcycle taxi, Pempero Bendola, says during the rainy season, the damaged road networks are sometimes a cause of accidents that could have otherwise been avoided. Meanwhile, Lilongwe City Council spokesperson Tamara Chafunya says there are plans to rehabilitate some of the roads in the city. She says the council has already advertised for contractors to bid for the roads rehabilitations.
About 2,175 underage marriages have been terminated in two traditional authorities in Mulanje district within 3 years. The traditional authorities are Mtawira and Chikumbu. This was revealed during an interface meeting between Girl Empowerment Network, traditional leaders from Mulanje district and the Ministry of Local Government on Wednesday in Blantyre. More in this report by Justin Nkweo.
The termination of marriages has been achieved through the Ending Child Marriages and Preventing Early Pregnancies in East and Southern Africa 18+ project, which Jeanette implemented in partnership with Plan Malawi and funding from Plan German. Jeanette Programs Advisor Takondwa Kaliwo said the situation of child marriages and early pregnancies was bad before the interventions.
After we started this project, the 18+ project, we had a number of interventions that we wanted to support these girls to remain in school. And the first one, which was very important, was to collaborate with the traditional leaders so that they can assist us in supporting the girls to remain in school. Because one of the pathways of early child marriage was initiation ceremonies. We found out that there are some traditions and some customs or social norms that force girls to get married early.
Tiechi Kumbu, who has terminated 2005 marriages in the 3-year period, lamented that even though this has been achieved, it is hard to keep in school girls who have been retained from marriage. She asked government to bring back the power of bylaws which were waived from chiefs. Deputy Minister of Local Government Halima Daudi expressed satisfaction with what the project has achieved.
I'm impressed as government. This is what we want. They're complementing the efforts government is doing. So we're very happy for the progress in Mulanje. So I've asked Jeanette also to go into other districts, because we have 28 districts. Other districts are not doing what people in Mulanje are doing. So I've asked them also to go to other districts and do the same.
Research indicates that 48% of girls in Malawi get married before their 18th birthday.
After noting gaps in how some government projects are being implemented in councils, Youth and Society met councillors, heads of departments at Mzuzu City Council in the capacity building drive. The organization, which held a meeting on Wednesday, said the aim is to hold those responsible for implementing the projects accountable. Feston Malegezo has the details.
Youth and Society Programs Manager Amos Simwera said gaps in accountability derail development. Simwera also said they have asked the jury bearers to be responsive and engage the youth when implementing projects.
We most of the times we talk about these jury bearers not being accountable when they are working in their offices. So we thought it is also our duty to build their capacity, so that they have an understanding that when we talk about them being accountable, them being accounting for all the resources that they get, that government resources, taxpayers' money, as they are doing different project activities. So as we push for them to be accountable, we also believe that it is our duty to build their capacity so that they have a good understanding as they are doing their day-to-day activities.
But in an interview after the meeting, the city's deputy mayor, Gift Design Urenda, said in most areas the youth leaders act like auditors when demanding accountability on some developmental projects from jury bearers. He, however, held the engagement, saying it is an eye-opener. Democracy in Your Hands is a program aimed at cultivating youth activeness for accountability, open responsiveness, justice and inclusive governance, a program implemented with funding from OSISA.
That item concludes the bulletin this evening, but before we go, the headlines once again. President Lazarus Chakwera says the COVID-19 vaccine is a must-have if the country is to sustain gains made in the fight against the pandemic. Parliament shoots down tabling of the abortion bill. And Finance Minister Felix Mlusu says government has no immediate plans of bailing out ESCOM. You've been with me, Wonder Msisia. You can get more on this and other stories by visiting our website www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page Times 360 Malawi, and following us on Twitter at Times 360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, and please mask up. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of the programs. Good night.
Good evening, I'm Elita Soko with the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Expect locally heavy rains associated with thunderstorms due to combined effect of Congo air mass and the intertropical convergence zone oscillating over Malawi. Expect localized rains with occasional thunderstorms during morning. Locally heavy rain associated with thunderstorms in the afternoon. Advisory: threat of flash floods is high, therefore avoid crossing flooded or fast-flowing waters. In the Shire Valley, rain showers with thundery activities over a few areas tonight and during morning. Very hot and partly cloudy with thundery rain showers during the afternoon. Southern Highlands, locally heavy rains with thunderstorms tonight and during morning. Partly cloudy with locally heavy rain associated with thunderstorms in the afternoon. Central areas expect localized rains with occasional thunderstorms tonight and during morning, and locally heavy thunderstorms and rain during afternoon. Lakeshore areas, rains with localized thunderstorms tonight and during morning. Rains and thunderstorms to persist later during the afternoon. Northern areas expect cool conditions with rains and occasional thundery activities tonight and during morning, and locally heavy rains and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Forecast temperatures: Nkabu, a minimum of 25 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 36. Blantyre, a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 25. Lilongwe, a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 24. Mangochi, a minimum of 23 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius. And in Mzuzu, a minimum of 16 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 25. Wind, northeasterly, becoming variable but gusty in stormy areas. Forecast for Saturday, heavy rains associated with thunderstorms over more areas. We'll now give you the times for sunrise and sunset for tomorrow, the 12th of March 2021. In Mzuzu, the sun will rise at 13 minutes to 6 and set at 6 o'clock. In Lilongwe, the sun will rise at 12 minutes to 6 and set at 2 minutes after 6. And in Blantyre, the sun will rise at 18 minutes to 6 and set at 2 minutes to 6 o'clock. And that's the weather forecast for tonight. I am Elita Soko. Have a lovely night.
Define your surroundings with the color of your choice. Make it warm, creative, friendly, and vibrant.